literally standing in a food forest. Look at this. My kids went tubing the other day, so they left them right there, right where I could trip. But look at all this food. Like, there's cherries up in there, right above me, all around me. There are also kiwi vines. They haven't set fruit yet, but lots of projects in here. It is a wild disaster. It's a wild disaster area, to be sure. One of the most awesome things about having a food forest like this is that you don't have to do a lot to take care of it. I never water the cherry trees, and they are doing fabulous. I don't water the laurel, which that's not edible, but it's very beautiful and ornamental, and it gives me a lot of shade. I know some people get a little perturbed by growing laurel for some reason. I know that there are some invasive types. That one does not seem to be invasive at all. Birds don't eat the berries. They fall down, and if I have any baby plants, they're like right underneath the mother plant. So I don't have any concerns. The tree itself has beautiful flowers. Now the flowers are spent, but they do release kind of a really almost jasmine, really light jasmine scent late in the evening on summer nights. So I love it for the flowers. I think the dark green foliage is just beautiful. There are all kinds of critters living under there. So almost every time I come out here, I'll see a bunny hop away, or there'll be some birds in there. It's definitely a place where critters like to hide, and I'm giving them habitat. It has gone a little bit too wild in here, like with all of the suckers. Now the suckers, like I said, the ones that are really in the walkways, I'm going to be pruning those back. I'm going to have to enlist the help of my husband and my oldest son to help do so. But I even want to use the wood, because cherry wood is so amazing and beautiful. And if you go to like Hobby Lobby and different craft stores, you're going to see that wood can be pretty expensive. And so I'm looking here and going, I'm not just seeing food, I'm also seeing craft supplies. So I will be using a lot of those items. Some of the trees I'm actually letting them get nice and thick, because if you see those pieces that they have like little, like they're round, they'll just like cut the wood into like little round circles, and then you wood burn on them, or you make ornaments and stuff like that. I like to wood burn, and so I'm looking at that. I was like, okay, I could probably get like 500 of those rounds. I think we can get a lot more out of our properties if we're a little bit creative and we use the spaces that we have. Now, I don't live in an HOA, thank the Lord. But even in those situations, there are a lot of exceptions, like if you're growing in pots, or maybe they care about the front yard but not the backyard. So check with your HOA if you have one. But I luckily don't have an HOA, and so I'm not free to do whatever I want on my property. Obviously, there's still city ordinances, but I'm allowed to grow trees in my front yard, and I definitely do this, and they're growing crazy. When I first got this house, the front yard, there was one cherry tree, and this was all like empty lot. And a lot of people like that. They like the Victorian style, just a maintained grassy area. I don't mind that either, to like walk barefoot in, have a little picnic and things like that. But how often do you really use your grassy areas? Do you need your whole front yard, side yard, backyard to be a grassy area where you're pouring gallons and gallons of water and getting nothing really out of it? So we get a lot out of our property, all kinds of fruits and vegetables. My youngest son just yesterday was coming outside picking handfuls of blueberries, and we have lots of different things. We've got the cherries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries in the backyard, red, yellow, or golden, and black raspberries. Of course, then we also have blackberries. Some have gone invasive, and those are going to have to be removed. It's insane. And I didn't plant the invasive wild type. They just popped up. We're going to harvest from them, and then we're going to cut them back. I do have non-invasive, I think it's like Arapaho or Navajo, thornless blackberries, which are doing very well, and I did propagate some of those. They don't have thorns and they're not invasive. And of course, not invasive also means you have to kind of cater to them a little bit better. You have to kind of baby them a little bit. So I just wanted to show you how dense it is in here, and I'm loving it. You do want to have good airflow, so wherever I see branches crossing, that's what I take out first. And if I have anything in my way, obviously anything that looks like it's sick or like pest prone or whatever, I take those things first. If there are any areas where I've seen birds, I don't mess with it, because there are a lot of native birds that like to build their nests in places like this. It's pretty wild. I think it's really important that we reclaim our spaces where, you know, like there's so much concrete. We live in this concrete jungle, and like you can hear the cars zooming past, but it's not nearly as loud as it would be if I didn't have all this foliage buffering the sound. So that's also very nice for the sound quality. You know, it's like it's more peaceful. I still hear the road, and if you live in the city, that's going to be something that you just like, it's our existence, right? Yeah, but I love this, and I will like to go show you in a little bit more that I have growing in some other areas beyond this. Let's go take a look. These are falling all over here. I planted these either last year or the year before, and they're just falling over. There's so many. Beautiful. I'm really loving the perennials that don't take a lot of like serious inputs. Like if I watered over here at all, it was just in passing, like trying to get to another area. So these really have had no extra help. I've got a lot of work to do. I know that. I know this does not look like Martha Stewart. I've got weeds. I've got all kinds of things happening. But I have wildlife that are just totally enjoying every aspect of this wild space. So I'm just kind of going through. This is a work space I have here where I've got a lot of things I need to come back and weed through, and maybe add some more soil or compost in here. We have some rose campion blooming. The foliage of the rose campion in the first year does resemble lamb's ear. A lot of people do misidentify rose campion as lamb's ear in the first year. It's in the second year that we start seeing flowers, and then these will produce a lot of seeds. Let me show you a rose campion that just found a way to survive. Life finds a way. Let's go I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, I ignored this place for a little bit. This is just a bucket of scummy water, but what do I have in it? I have actually cloned elderberry trees. These are the ones I couldn't get to fast enough, but I just kept putting water. They're rooted and they are growing, and I need to transplant them. But basically, I just had a friend who needed to trim out some of her tree or her stand of these because they just go crazy. It's actually, this is nuts. This is totally nuts. I don't want to get stung. It's producing berries, and I didn't even plant it. Do you see this? This is totally insane. That is wood, just sticks and branches I cut last year, probably in October. I stuck in this bucket, and I've been going through and planting what I can, finding whatever deep containers I can find, and I've been planting them. And this one here is on a really thick piece right there, really thick stalk. Those are berries that are growing. They weren't growing when I put it in there, you guys. I put that in there. They're growing while just sticking into scummy water. I'm kind of embarrassed about the scummy water, but I just wanted to show you that this is working. Those are clones. I'm going to propagate those and transplant them very soon. I bet you know what this is. This is bamboo. When we first moved in, my husband planted a little bit of bamboo in the middle of the yard. And I said, "What are you doing? Did you not learn the lesson my dad learned when he moved into his house, where he had to spend such a fortune ripping out bamboo that had destroyed his like whole front yard and patio and stuff?" This is like an ornamental bamboo. We have purposely grown the Vivex giant bamboo, but we have them in a pot, in a bigger pot, on top of a pallet so they won't spread. And we have another property that doesn't have built structures or anything like that, and we're going to plant them somewhere else. But this, I had to get these out soon, otherwise they're really going to take hold in this area. You don't want to plant bamboo unless you plant it in a pot where the roots can't creep around. So that needs to go. I do like the idea of growing my own bamboo stakes, but in the ground like this, they come up really sharp. So if someone fell down when they're first growing, I'm kind of afraid of someone getting hurt. Like the sharp little sprout, I think it could go through someone's foot or worse. So those are going to be moved, or like I'm gonna rip them out. Right here on the inside of the fence line, I am growing Aronia berries, and you can see there's lots of them. You can probably infer by looking at them now that they have a very thick outer skin, and they still do even when they're ripe. So making a juice is probably the best thing to do with these. I've left them on, and I'll let the birds eat them. They won't usually go to them first. They'll eat them as a famine food. But I do this year want to make some Aronia berry jelly or jam. These here are some of my non-invasive blackberries. They're not ripe yet. And I have already transplanted them when I was cleaning out this area. But they're looking really good. Albeit this area is really dry right now. I need to water, but we are on limited watering schedules. I bought some echinacea or purple coneflower from a box store at the end of last year. And at the beginning of the summer, I divided it up and transplanted it. And you can see it's taking the transplant just fine. So like one little pot that was like $6 or something like that ended up having like 6 plants per pot, and I wanted to separate them, and this is looking really, really good. So there's one there, one here, one here. This one's going to have multiple flowers. This one already has multiple flowers on it. They're responding really well to being transplanted. I'm so happy to see that. And I transplanted in some other spots too, but I did like all the way around in the circle, and then I had some other flowers that I planted in the middle, so we can have like different blooming times. So I'm happy about that. Scan over here, and I planted some carnations that are looking super pretty to me. Anyhow, I'm not done. It's just, this is what I have so far. Really need to get these squash transplanted. Which one is this one? This is Nicase. I'm not sure how to say that. It's in French. That's going to be, I'm assuming, a winter squash. And then same kind here. But I did plant multiple types. Oh, this is a kabocha noodle squash. And there were some that didn't sprout. They all seem to be the same kind down the middle. That was, is the same kind here? That's the Gouda. Okay, there's one right here that did sprout, but these other ones, the Goudas, did not. So this is the one I'm going to plant. And then I don't know what happened here. That happened just one morning, so I don't know if someone stepped on it or what, but lots of stuff going on. This has been a work in progress. It's been years growing this to cover up the whole trellis here. But I am so happy to come through here. It like lowers my blood pressure, I swear. Like when I walk from this side here, and this is nuts. This is so nuts. It's like reaching out, trying to grab me. When I walk through here, I feel my stress just going, everything is going to be okay. And I look up here and I see clusters upon clusters and clusters of grapes. Now the birds will come after the grapes eventually, but there are so many on here that I actually had so much that I was like, I don't think my mouth can handle any more of the like acidity. I'm gonna have to make some kind of preserves or something, because this Grape Arbor was not this abundant last year, and I still had so much that we couldn't keep up with the fresh picking. And then I've got some flowers. I am just loving the Grape Arbor, and it just gets better and better every single year. And they are really easy to propagate from cuttings. So if you have one, you can have many. All you have to do is cut them and then water them. And I actually like to cut it and stick it into soil right away, and then make sure that that water never dries out. It works best if they are kept in like a shady spot. They will root a lot better. Like this is actually now hanging down. I'm actually going to have to get like an S hook to pull this up, because the weight of the foliage and the fruit on here that's not even ripe yet it's so heavy. So my husband and son and my daughter, who are all taller than me, they have to bend down to get under here, because this is actually, my youngest son has to bend down. I have to bend down to get underneath this, because there is just so much fruit hanging from up here. And imagine when it's ripe. And this is going to be really dark. I don't know what kind it is. Honestly, I lost track. But it's like a really dark blue, purple. They're really small grapes, but they're so sweet, and they are very seedy. And you can just chew them up, and you just chew it up and swallow them, and they're just delicious. And you think you buy a grape seed extract, right? So these have the seeds in them, but the fruit's so small, it would be so silly to waste your time taking the seeds out. And the flesh around the seeds tastes so amazing. So if you just like chew up the seeds and the grapes together, it reminds me of pomegranates. It's really delightful. So the grocery store, those giant big grapes are so good. They have their place, but the flavor really does not compete with these. This is insane. This is like my pride and joy, honestly. Love it, love it, love it. Love it. Love it. My husband got that pot for free. A lady just wanted to get rid of it, and it already had the plants in it, but they weren't blooming or they weren't growing yet. So we just put it out here, super heavy, and water it, and look what we have. It's gorgeous. That plant right there probably has to be at least $100. We got it for free because my husband was doing landscaping, and the lady was just like, I don't want this, it's in the way. So he took it from me. He's like, okay, can my wife have it? And she was like, take it. So I'm happy with that. Oh, so that one is withering out. This is what I'm used to seeing in the summertime for basil. But these actually was just one container with multiple basils in there. And I just took them out and I just stuck them in multiple places. And they're doing pretty good. I'm surprised they're doing this great, considering this is a very sunny position. If I could get them a little bit more shade, that'd be better. But I'm really impressed. And to keep these going, you just pinch them off and then eat it, and then let the rest grow up. And that's how you can prevent it from going to flower too soon. Is just pinch it like right above the next set, and that can keep it going for quite a while. So, oh my gosh, it smells so good. And I've got a little rose bush right there. I transplanted it recently. It looks like it's pretty dried out here, but it's just the weather. And we're, like I said, we're on a watering schedule. So I will be watering that tomorrow morning so I don't get fined or anything. I should have, oh dang it, I should have harvested my rhubarb. It's okay. It doesn't hurt it to do it now, but it's just not going to be yummy. So I'll take that later. But this is what I wanted to show you. This is stupid. This is stupid awesome. Look at this. This is what I'm talking about. This is rose campion. So right here where there's weeds, I like weeds. This is what I'm talking about. Life is finding anywhere it can pop up. And I know some people will be like, take it out. I can't. How can I take it out? It's so beautiful. That it's coming through the cracks of the planter. I love it. I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it do its thing. That's how I roll over here. I let it do its thing. So this here is a type of autumn olive, and I've done videos on this before, like last summer. Go through some of my older stuff around this time and last year, and you'll see them. but the backs of these leaves are like golden and shining and shimmery. So beautiful. Not only that, the fruit is also like, it's red, but it has like these little gold flecks. Now it's super tart and sweet and tart, and there's a seed on the inside. I'm gonna taste it. Yum. And I'm gonna save the seeds from this as well. So I've got a lot of fruit here to harvest. It's so good. I don't really see the birds going after them. They haven't discovered them yet. But I'm going to save these seeds and grow them. I might also do some cloned cuttings of them as well. But look at that beautiful golden shimmer on the back of the leaves. I just love it. And this is a nice big bush now. Like, when I planted it, it was just like a little plug, basically. And it's doing well. And behind it, like I showed you before, is the Aronia berries. And then behind that, I have the laurel. Right? There's the laurel. I love lupine. And this one is... And I need to collect more seeds. If you let it go too long, the seed pods actually will expel the seeds and like blast them. They'll like turn into little curly cues, and they launch the seeds everywhere, which is awesome, except I don't really see them popping up anywhere else. So I want to get to the seeds before that happens, because I want to make sure my lupine... I see the video is getting a little bit too long, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of cut here. But I was trying to show you around the property, showing you the cherry trees and the different flowers and grapes and all of this good stuff. I mean, I'm surrounded by mint and all kinds of wonderful things out here. On the other side, I can't even get over there. I'm so hot. I'm trying to stay in the shade. So maybe on another day when it's a little bit cooler in the morning or late in the evening, I'll try to span over there so you can see like the hazelnuts and plums and peaches and all that good stuff. And my red apple tree, my red fleshed apple tree. I've got a whole orchard of fruit trees all around the property, fruit and nut trees, almonds, hazelnuts, and chestnuts, all different kinds of things. I've got walnut trees, but I have those in the ground. I have one in the ground, a little baby, and then I've got some that are in containers that I'm going to move to another place. But there's food everywhere, and I always think about like how, you know, if something bad happened, could I go out in the yard and could I feed my family? And the answer for me is yes. Can you? If you've ever seen that show, it's kind of terrifying, Naked and Afraid. Yes, if you saw people in their front yard or backyard naked, that would be terrifying. But I sometimes think about that show and how, like, if you didn't clothed option, right? If you didn't have anything to work from for 21 days, you just sit and try to conserve as much energy as you possibly could. But if you were at home and you have planted, like I'm looking over to my side over here and I see sunchokes. I hid a little area of sunchokes in this ground here. No one would know what it was. They'd think it's another sucker, or they'd think it's a weed or a sunflower. But there are tubers in the ground right there where I could dig it up, and that would be part of a meal for my family. Marry that together with the edible flowers and herbs and just culinary herbs everywhere, medicinal herbs everywhere, sunchokes in the ground, potatoes in the ground, and all this good stuff. If we had to, we could survive months on what I have growing in my backyard. So that's a wonderful way to get started in food security. And also, if you're going to water your grass, or if you're going to water your yard, at least there should be something growing there that is useful to you. Whether it's growing your own craft supplies, like with the cherry suckers and so forth, or if it's growing your own tea, medicines, food, bouquets of flowers. If you're going to, if you like to buy bouquets for people, you could pick them from your own garden. That's a wonderful thing to do. And that way, when you're using your water in the summertime, it's actually going to something that is of some kind of value, not just green grass. We're not Victorians. We can't afford to just, show off how rich we are by watering grass, which is not edible to us. So I'll have to show you more around the property another day when I get out here earlier, but I'm working full time. I teach summer school too, so it's kind of warm, but I will show you some of the other stuff another time. And what I always like to say at the end of my videos, be good, be sweet, and grow a garden if you want to eat. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now. Happy 4th of July to my fellow gardeners, friends, like-minded and not so like-minded citizens in the United States of America. God bless you. Happy 4th of July. And I hope that you're doing well, prospering, and all of that. I hope that you're grateful for the freedoms that we have. I know things aren't perfect. They never are. But imagine the freedoms that we have because of our forefathers. I'm so grateful for the 4th of July, for all of the sacrifices that people have made throughout time. Not to mention our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the ultimate sacrifice that He made for us, and all the freedoms that we have. God bless you. Patriots. Bye.